The A-Team, 1983 to 1987, remains one of the most beloved action-adventure TV shows of all time, known for its unforgettable characters, thrilling missions, and iconic catchphrases. Over the years, the talented cast brought this ragtag group of heroes to life, captivating audiences worldwide. Sadly, some of these legendary actors have since passed away, leaving behind a lasting legacy and memories cherished by fans. In this video, we pay tribute to the A-Team stars who have tragically died, celebrating their contributions to television and honoring the impact they made. Join us as we remember these actors and the unforgettable roles that made the A-Team a timeless classic. George Peppard entered the public eye most memorably in 1983 as Colonel John Hannibal Smith, the brilliant and unflappable leader of the A-Team at the age of 55. Hannibal's cigar-chomping confidence, his uncanny ability to disguise himself, and his unwavering love for complex plans coming together on the battlefield captured audiences worldwide, making him a symbol of cool composure and tactical genius. Yet beneath this polished on-screen persona lay a man with a life marked by turbulence and complexity. Born on October 1, 1928, in Detroit, Michigan, Peppard's childhood was rooted in a middle-class family, but his early years saw struggles including a difficult relationship with his strict father, who served in the military. These formative years instilled in him a mix of discipline and rebellion. Peppard's adulthood was rife with personal challenges. He was married 5 times and fathered children with multiple women, a testament to his restless nature and difficulty maintaining stable relationships. Professionally, he was known for his perfectionism, often clashing with directors and co-stars, most famously with Mr. T, due to his temper and uncompromising standards. Off-camera, Peppard's charm sometimes masked a deeply private man wrestling with insecurity and disappointment, including battles with alcoholism that affected his health and career longevity. After achieving fame with earlier classics like Breakfast at Tiffany's, his role in the A-Team revitalized his image but also typecast him, limiting his later career opportunities. His death on May 8, 1994, at 65, from pneumonia after lung cancer underscored a life cut short by health battles related to years of smoking. Despite his complicated legacy, Peppard left behind a cultural icon in Hannibal, influencing the archetype of the tough but lovable leader in action dramas. At his death, Peppard's estate was valued near $5 million, but his true legacy lies in the enduring image of Hannibal Smith, a man who thrived on outwitting opponents and whose real life was filled with the very human imperfections that made him relatable and unforgettable. Lance Legault entered the A-Team story in 1983 at age 48 as Colonel Roderick Decker, the implacable government agent obsessed with capturing the renegade team. Decker's stern demeanor, relentless pursuit, and military rigidity contrasted sharply with Hannibal's playful cunning, creating an enduring foil who brought tension and urgency to the series. Born May 2, 1935, in Chicago, Illinois, Legault's early life was anything but easy. After his father died during his childhood, young Lance was placed in an orphanage where he faced the harsh realities of loss, abandonment, and poverty. This upbringing hardened him, giving him a resilience that would later define his career. Before his acting breakthrough, Legault's career began in the physically demanding role of Elvis Presley's stunt double, a testament to his toughness and athleticism. Transitioning into acting, he became a prolific character actor, frequently cast as tough military men or law enforcement officers, roles that capitalized on his commanding presence and gravelly voice. Off-screen, however, Legault was known for his kindness and humility, traits rarely associated with his on-screen personas. His career was steady but never sensational, spanning hundreds of television shows and films, including voice work that added to his versatile resume. Legault's personal life was low-profile with few public scandals, though he struggled quietly with health issues later in life. His death on September 10, 2012, from heart failure marked the end of a career characterized by professionalism and grit. His net worth, estimated around $2 million, reflected decades of consistent work rather than blockbuster stardom. Despite this, Legault's legacy endures in the indelible image of the relentless military man who embodied the discipline and doggedness of a generation, offering a nuanced portrait of toughness tempered by personal kindness behind the scenes. Robert Vaughn in New York City joined the A-Team in 1986 at age 54, portraying General Hunt Stockwell, a shadowy government official whose motives were as complex as his personality. Stockwell's morally ambiguous stance and enigmatic control over the team introduced a darker, more intellectual element to the show's dynamic, elevating Vaughn's role beyond the typical military archetype. Vaughn's life was a striking blend of intellect, activism, and artistry. Born November 22, 1932, raised in an emotionally unstable environment, Vaughn faced feelings of isolation in childhood but transformed this adversity into a lifelong pursuit of knowledge and justice. Holding a PhD in communications, he was as comfortable in academic circles as on film sets. A passionate political activist, Vaughn vocally opposed the Vietnam War and was deeply engaged in fighting Hollywood blacklisting, even authoring a revealing book about the industry's dark politics. His career spanned over 6 decades, earning him acclaim in film, television, and theater, with roles that often challenged societal norms and provoked thought. Vaughn's portrayal of Stockwell was infused with this intellectual depth, adding layers of intrigue and moral questioning to a series otherwise known for action and humor. Diagnosed with acute leukemia, Vaughn passed away on November 11, 2016, at 83. His net worth of approximately $10 million reflected not just financial success but a legacy of cultural influence and courageous activism. Vaughn's true impact lies in the rare combination of artist and activist, whose legacy transcends entertainment and continues to inspire conversations about ethics, power, and resistance in Hollywood and beyond. Jing joined the A-Team in 1983 at the age of 52, taking on the roles of General Harlan Bull, Fulbright, and Border Patrol Lieutenant Taggart, characters who added significant dramatic weight to the show's high-octane escapades. Jing's Fulbright was initially cast as a ruthless adversary to the A-Team, a rigid, authoritarian figure whose military background clashed with the renegade heroes. However, the role evolved into one marked by reluctant alliance and moral complexity. Jing's portrayal was steeped in the gravitas of a man who knew discipline and loyalty firsthand, qualities drawn from his own formative years. Born on November 30, 1931, in Alva, Oklahoma, Jing's early life was punctuated by hardship and instability. His mother's irregular working hours meant Jing spent much of his childhood in foster care, experiences that instilled resilience and a somber understanding of authority and order. He later became a U.S. Marine and a college football player, which not only shaped his physical presence but also his approach to roles requiring stoicism and strength. His Hollywood journey began in the 1950s, with steady work in television and film, including frequent collaborations with Clint Eastwood. Despite a solid career, Jing never achieved blockbuster fame but built a reputation for dependability and professionalism. Beyond acting, he was a family man who valued privacy, rarely revealing his personal struggles. A lesser-known fact is that Jing struggled silently with the emotional toll of his unstable childhood, which he channeled into his performances with subtlety rather than flamboyance. He passed away on September 9, 2022, at 90 years old, leaving behind an estate valued around $2 million, reflecting decades of consistent, if understated, success. His legacy lies in the quiet strength of his roles, especially Fulbright, whose layered morality on the A-Team hinted at the complexities Jing himself had endured in real life. Red West entered the A-Team's universe in 1983 at the age of 47, bringing to life the gruff, no-nonsense characters of Lieutenant Trask and Red Avery, both roles perfectly matched to his rugged, tough guy image honed from a life steeped in Southern grit and rock and roll infamy. Born Robert Gene West on March 8, 1936, in Memphis, Tennessee, West was the quintessential all-American boy shaped by a blue-collar upbringing and a fierce loyalty that would define his personal and professional life. He famously became one of Elvis Presley's closest friends and bodyguards, a role that gave him intimate access to the superstar's private life but also exposed him to the darker side of fame. Their friendship ended bitterly, with West co-writing the controversial and explosive tell-all, Elvis. What Happened? Published just weeks before Presley's death in 1977, a move that estranged him from many fans but revealed his complex position between loyalty and truth. This scandal cast a long shadow over West's career, but he continued to work in Hollywood, shifting between acting, stunt work, and songwriting. His roles often embodied toughness and raw authenticity, mirroring his own battles with betrayal, addiction, and professional setbacks. Despite such turbulence, West's presence on screen remained steady until his death from an aortic aneurysm on July 18, 2017, at 81. His net worth was estimated at $2 million, a testament to his versatility and resilience. Beyond the public eye, West wrestled with the cost of fame and loyalty, a man caught between adoration and alienation, whose legacy in the A-Team and beyond remains one of unapologetic authenticity wrapped in a hard-edged exterior. Danny Wells, born Jack Westelman on April 7, 1941, in Montreal, Canada, joined the A-Team in 1983 at age 42, portraying eccentric roles such as a film director and Artie Simmons that brought levity and charm to an otherwise action-heavy series. Wells was not just a character actor but a versatile performer whose career spanned voice acting, sitcoms, and children's programming, including his beloved role as Luigi in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, and the bartender Charlie on The Jeffersons. His characters on the A-Team may have been brief but memorable for their quirkiness and comic relief, showcasing Wells's ability to blend warmth and humor effortlessly. Yet behind his jovial screen persona was a man quietly grappling with Hollywood's typecasting machine. Despite over 80 television and film credits, Wells struggled to break free from the funny sidekick mold, a frustration compounded by the lack of leading roles. His personal life was marked by a strong connection to his Canadian roots and a humble approach to fame, choosing often to remain out of the limelight. In his later years, Wells fought cancer with dignity until his death on November 28, 2013, at 72. His passing coincided with Nintendo's Year of Luigi, an eerie and poignant tribute to one of his most cherished roles. Wells's net worth was estimated at $1.5 million, a reflection of steady, diverse work rather than blockbuster stardom. His legacy endures in the subtle smiles of viewers who found comfort in his characters, a reminder that even small roles can leave indelible marks on pop culture when performed with heart and humor. John Carter joined the A-Team in 1983 at the age of 56, appearing in roles such as Jacob Edwards and a fake Hannibal Smith. His on-screen presence was marked by a calm, authoritative aura, often portraying characters steeped in experience and quiet command. Although his time on the A-Team was brief and in supporting roles, Carter's performances always carried a depth shaped by his rich and diverse career. Born November 26, 1927, in Center Ridge, Arkansas, before Hollywood he had an extensive background in theater, including notable Broadway appearances and directing ventures, which gave him a sophisticated understanding of character development rarely seen in television of that era. Despite projecting a strong and steady persona on screen, Carter's real life was punctuated by profound personal hardships, most notably the tragic death of his son, a loss that deeply affected his later years and perhaps added a layer of somberness to the characters he portrayed. Raised in rural Arkansas during the Great Depression, Carter's early life was shaped by the economic hardships and conservative social environment typical of the South, experiences that honed his resilience and perhaps informed his affinity for roles rooted in authority and moral complexity. Off-camera, he was known to be a gentle and reflective man, favoring the arts and mentoring younger actors, a contrast to the tough characters he sometimes played. His career was a steady one, spanning film, television, and stage, but without the blaze of stardom. Instead, it was marked by professionalism and versatility. Carter passed away on May 23, 2015, at the age of 87 from pneumonia. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at approximately $1.5 million, accumulated through decades of consistent work rather than blockbuster hits. Beyond his financial estate, his true legacy lies in his craftsmanship and the respect he garnered from peers who valued his dedication to acting and theater. Joffrey Clifford Brown brought an electrifying physicality to the A-Team in 1983, often cast in stunt-intensive roles such as Garber's thug or a bartender, demonstrating his remarkable ability to blend athleticism with raw screen presence. His career was far from typical. Before Hollywood, Brown was a professional baseball player with the Chicago Cubs organization, a testament to his athletic prowess. Transitioning into stunt work, he became one of the first African-American stuntmen to break into Hollywood's highly exclusive stunt community, carving out a path in a field historically resistant to diversity. Born January 22, 1945, in Grambling, Louisiana, Brown's life was a study in resilience. Growing up in the segregated South during the 1940s and 1950s, he faced systemic racism and limited opportunities, which fueled his determination to succeed in demanding physical roles. Over a career spanning more than 3 decades, Brown contributed to over 100 films, including major blockbusters like Jurassic Park and Speed, performing some of the most dangerous stunts on camera. His dedication earned him the Taurus Lifetime Achievement Award, highlighting his impact on the stunt profession and Hollywood at large. Brown's career was not without hardship. The physical toll of his stunts accumulated into chronic health issues, and ultimately he died on January 11, 2014, at 68, from complications related to cancer treatment. His passing marked the loss of a pioneer whose influence reshaped stunt work by demonstrating that black performers could excel in the most physically demanding and risky areas of film production. At the time of his death, Brown's net worth was estimated at $2 million, a reflection of a long career filled with high-risk work that few dared to undertake. His legacy endures in the stunt community, where he is remembered not just for his daring feats but also for opening doors for future generations of diverse stunt performers. Alan Fudge appeared on the A-Team in 1983 at age 39, playing characters such as Elliot Farnell and Frank Gaines, roles that revealed his remarkable ability to inhabit the morally ambiguous and bureaucratically tangled personas that added texture to the show's narrative. Born on February 27, 1944, in Wichita, Kansas, Fudge's upbringing in the Midwest was fairly typical, but his later career choices reflected a restless intellect and a hunger for challenging roles. Trained extensively in theater and Broadway productions, Fudge's work was characterized by a cerebral approach to acting, lending a quiet gravitas to often understated or conflicted characters. Off-screen, he was known for his privacy and focus on craft rather than celebrity, which made his illness and eventual death from lung and liver cancer on October 10, 2011, all the more poignant to those close to him. Throughout his career, Fudge avoided scandal and controversy, maintaining a professional reputation marked by seriousness and dedication. His performances on television series such as Seventh Heaven, Man from Atlantis, and Columbo demonstrated his versatility and the respect he commanded within the industry. Despite never achieving household name status, Fudge's contributions enriched many productions, offering depth and nuance. His death on October 10, 2011 at 67 was a quiet but significant loss to the acting community, especially among those who appreciated character actors who brought substance rather than flash. His estimated net worth of around $1 million reflected a career that prioritized quality over quantity and respect for the art form over fame. Beyond finances, his legacy is preserved in the subtle power of his performances and the influence he had on younger actors who admired his commitment to realism and complexity in their craft. Michael Aldridge was 42 when he appeared in the A-Team in 1983, playing Colonel Twill and Don, two minor but pivotal characters that reinforced the military authenticity of the show. Aldridge's commanding yet understated performances made him a dependable character actor throughout the 1980s, especially in roles requiring gravitas and authority. His work in the A-Team may have been brief, but it fit perfectly into his broader career, which included appearances in high-profile films like Scarface, 1983, and Iron Eagle, 1986. On screen, Aldridge embodied the archetype of a hardened military man, often acting as a foil to the rebellious A-Team, grounding the show's chaotic energy with a sense of discipline and order. Off-screen, however, his life was far less conspicuous. Born on April 13, 1941, in Bakersfield, California, and raised in Bakersfield, a working-class town in California's Central Valley, Michael grew up in a modest environment that lacked the glamour of Hollywood but instilled in him a strong work ethic. His family background was not extensively publicized, but sources suggest he was the product of a middle-class upbringing, without the luxury of connections that might have eased his entry into show business. Instead, Aldridge had to carve out his niche through sheer talent and persistence. His career spanned over 3 decades, with numerous guest appearances on television shows and supporting roles in films, but he never attained star status. This was partly a personal choice. He avoided the limelight and scandals that often accompany Hollywood actors, instead maintaining a relatively private life. However, tragedy struck in the 1990s when he was diagnosed with lung cancer, a battle he fought quietly until his death on December 19, 1997, at age 56. His illness reportedly developed from years of smoking, a common but deadly habit among actors of his generation. The diagnosis profoundly affected his final years, limiting his ability to work and eventually forcing him to retreat from acting altogether. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $1 million, accumulated from consistent, if not headline-grabbing, roles and careful financial management. Although Aldridge never achieved household name fame, his legacy lies in his reliable, convincing portrayals of military and authoritative figures that added depth and realism to the productions he joined. Dana Elcar was 57 when he joined the A-Team in 1984, playing Judge Leonard Mordente and George Olson, roles that allowed him to showcase a commanding presence combined with moral complexity. Elcar's portrayal of authoritative, principled men was enriched by his own rich life experience. Born on October 10, 1927, in Ferndale, Michigan, and growing up in Michigan during the Great Depression and World War II shaped his worldview and gave him a sturdy Midwestern resolve. He was of Irish-American descent, and his upbringing in a working-class environment exposed him early to hardship and perseverance. His childhood, although not marked by scandal or extreme hardship, was typical of his era, marked by close-knit family values but also by the economic challenges of the time. Elcar served in the U.S. Navy during World War II, an experience that added authenticity to his many roles as military or law enforcement figures. After the war, he pursued theater, which became the foundation of his acting career. The 1980s role on the A-Team was a stepping stone to his best-known work as Pete Thornton on MacGyver, where his real-life struggle with glaucoma was written into the character's arc, breaking new ground in Hollywood's portrayal of disability. This personal challenge added profound depth to his performances and made him a pioneering advocate for blind and visually impaired actors. Elcar's battle with glaucoma was slow and painful, forcing him to adapt continuously to vision loss. His decision to reveal his condition publicly and integrate it into his work helped destigmatize disabilities in the entertainment industry. Off-camera, he was a devoted family man, married multiple times and fathering 4 children, balancing his demanding career with a complex personal life. His resilience was not just professional but deeply personal, inspiring colleagues and fans alike. His death on June 6, 2005, from pneumonia complications was mourned across the industry. At the time, his net worth was estimated at around $2 million, reflecting decades of steady work and respect in television and theater. Beyond financial assets, Elcar's true legacy lies in his courage to confront adversity openly and his trailblazing role in changing how disabled actors are perceived and treated in Hollywood. William Lucking joined the A-Team cast in 1983 as Colonel Francis Lynch, a role he embodied with a gruff realism that mirrored his own hard-won life experiences. Born June 17, 1941, in Vicksburg, Michigan, Lucking's childhood was shaped by Midwestern values and the hardships of a working-class family during post-war America. His early years were not free from sorrow. The devastating loss of his first wife to cancer profoundly altered his personal and professional trajectory. This tragedy plunged him into a period of deep reflection, which fueled a minimalist, raw approach to acting that emphasized emotional authenticity over showiness. Before breaking into television, Lucking cut his teeth in theater, co-founding the Santa Paula Theater Center, where he invested considerable energy into fostering new talent and championing community arts. His portrayal of Lynch, a relentless military officer often portrayed as antagonistic, was underpinned by an empathy born of personal grief, giving the character an unexpected depth and subtle humanity. Off-screen, Lucking was a mentor, a writer, and a director, channeling his sorrow into creativity and connection with others. This focus on nurturing younger actors became a defining feature of his later career. Despite a steady and prolific presence in film and television, he remained humble, known for his minimalist philosophy, that less is more in acting and life. His net worth at the time of his death on October 18, 2021, in Las Vegas was approximately $2 million. Modest by Hollywood standards but earned through decades of dedication and steady work rather than blockbuster fame. Lucking's legacy lies not in headline roles or tabloid fodder but in his unwavering commitment to authenticity, community theater, and mentorship. His life story is a quiet testament to transforming personal tragedy into a lifelong dedication to art and human connection, a narrative seldom told in the glamour of Hollywood but essential to understanding the man behind the stern Colonel Lynch. Sergio Calderon entered the A-Team scene in 1983 at 38, infusing his characters El Cajon and the Coffin with a magnetic blend of mystery and charm that reflected his rich cultural heritage. Born July 21, 1945, in Coatlan del Rio, Mexico, Calderon grew up in a world where poverty and limited opportunities were common, and his journey into acting was marked by overcoming systemic barriers faced by Latino performers in Hollywood. Early in his life, he experienced the weight of cultural marginalization and economic hardship, which instilled in him a fierce determination to succeed while staying true to his roots. Throughout his 5-decade career, Calderon became known for roles in high-profile films like Men in Black and Pirates of the Caribbean, but his impact went deeper. He was revered within the Latino acting community for his humility, professionalism, and unyielding dedication to his craft. He often spoke about the challenge of avoiding stereotypical roles in an industry slow to embrace Latino talent with complexity. His characters were frequently layered, imbued with a humanity and depth that challenged Hollywood's narrow narratives. Calderon's off-screen persona was one of quiet strength and generosity. He mentored younger actors and advocated for greater representation and respect for Latino artists. Sadly, his life was cut short on May 31, 2023, when he passed away from pneumonia at age 77. His net worth, estimated around $2.28 million, reflected a steady and respectable career rather than flashy blockbuster earnings. But his true legacy lies in the cultural bridges he built, paving the way for future generations of Latino actors and contributing to a slowly changing industry landscape. Calderon's life story is emblematic of resilience in the face of marginalization, a narrative seldom spotlighted in Hollywood's history but vital for understanding the slow evolution of diversity on screen. His roles, infused with charisma and subtle power, remain a testament to a career spent breaking molds and challenging perceptions, underscoring a quiet revolution in the representation of Latino actors in American film and television. Morgan Woodward entered the A-Team universe in 1983 at 58 years old, portraying Bus Carter and Captain Winnetka, two characters steeped in authority and complexity that perfectly matched Woodward's commanding presence. Known for his piercing gaze and an unmistakable voice that could cut through a scene, Woodward carved a niche playing intense, often morally ambiguous men who lived by a strict code. These roles weren't mere stereotypes. They reflected a layered understanding of human nature forged from his own experiences. His presence on screen always suggested a story untold beneath the surface, a man burdened by history and responsibility. Born September 16, 1925, in Fort Worth, Texas, he came from a conservative, hard-working family. His early years were shaped by the Great Depression and a strict Texan upbringing that emphasized discipline and resilience. At 18, he enlisted in the Army Air Corps during World War II, serving as a pilot, an experience that deeply marked him with the realities of mortality and courage. Later, he served in the Korean War, further embedding a military ethos into his identity that would inform much of his acting. After the wars, Woodward briefly studied law before turning to acting, where his rugged looks and steady demeanor earned him roles as authoritative figures. However, behind the tough exterior was an intellectual who loved literature and philosophy and quietly engaged in philanthropy. He established a film studies endowment that helped aspiring filmmakers. Tragedy also touched Woodward's life. The trauma of war lingered in his psyche, and the challenge of being typecast as the tough guy constrained his artistic expression. Nevertheless, he persevered, channeling those experiences into nuanced performances. His ability to evolve beyond typecasting and his dedication to mentoring younger actors later in life highlighted a man committed not only to craft but to legacy. Morgan Woodward passed away on February 22, 2019, at 93, having amassed a net worth of roughly $49 million, a result of decades of work combined with savvy investments. Though time has passed, the laughter they gave us still echoes. The cast of the A-Team brought joy to millions, and even though some of them are no longer with us, their performances live on. As we remember those we've lost, we also celebrate the legacy they left behind, one that continues to entertain and connect generations. Thank you for joining us in honoring these unforgettable stars. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tributes to the legends of television history.